Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's deck profile for you, we're going over Red WarGreymon X. This deck is super aggro, right? Agumon's got a 100 different versions of himself that you can choose from, and this is probably the most aggressive build that really you can run with WarGreymon. I've had great success with this deck. Like every time I pick it up, it just absolutely slaughters. Is one of those decks that I rarely pick up because I feel like it's so good. I just feel like I'm cheating whenever I play this deck and play this game. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it for you guys. Tell me what you think. Any suggestions? Always open for that. Also, please make sure you guys like the video. Literally, it's the only thing YouTube cares about. If you just like the video, it helps go a long ways. All right, so I've got the whole deck pulled up for you guys so you can follow along with us, see what we're working with here. I think a lot of it is pretty straightforward of what the overall intention is here. A few things might surprise some of you guys, particularly this tie here. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and do this card by card breakdown. First up, for the Coromons, I'm still rocking the BT5 one. Just that draw is so good. Particularly, it feels even more powerful when you run a deck with X antibody, so you can attack, you draw for the Coromon, and if you have your X antibody, in the source, and you draw into one of the Digimon of X antibody that you needed, that you didn't have in hand, it feels so good to be able to then immediately evo that. So yeah, I love this Coromon, especially in a deck like this. I know a lot of other people have been switching over to the other Coromon that when a security is removed, you draw. But particularly for a WarGreymon X deck, an X antibody deck really in general, I really like the when attacking Coromon. For our Agumons here, of course, we're running the BT12 one. Reveal 4, you can add a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon and one Tamer with tie. So this is how we're going to be able to dig for our ties. And then the all turns inheritable of +1k is just really nice. The all turns is actually pretty important, especially depending on the matchups you're in. But being able to be at 13k during your opponent's turn is actually pretty huge. Like you have stuff like Leviamon that's out there with 13k, things like that. So yeah, it's important to have that little bit of extra DP boost. Next, we got our Agumon X, of course, in here, because this is going to be our way to search out our X antibody options. This is the only way that we can dig for those. That on player when Digivolving, reveal 3, add a Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and one X antibody from among them to your hand. So that's our other reveal. So are we searching for tie or are we searching for X antibody? That determines which of your Agumons you're playing. Now, this also might surprise some people. I know this card has actually been getting picked up in popularity again, particularly if you're running Omnimons. If you're running Omnimons in the deck, this is good. If you're not running Omnimons in the deck, don't bother running this. There's other Agumons to choose from. You can choose the one that, evos into the Greymon for free. That one's always good. There's also the red-yellow one that digs 4, and you can add a Greymon. It's supposed to be played in Shine, but you can play it in this too. But because we're playing the Omnimons, I like this one because I can grab a Greymon and an Omnimon in name. So grab both, and I don't have to just get one or the other. And that's our Agumon package. We're just running 12. 12 feels really good here recently in big stack decks, so I'm sticking with 12. Just 4, 4, 4, just as consistent as possible. Now for our Greymon lineups, I'm still a hard and true believer of the starter deck one Greymon. That security attack +1 is just too good. This deck is really just an OTK deck. Pretty much. I mean, we're just here to do like an insane amount of hits and then immediately win afterwards. You don't have to necessarily be an OTK deck, but I would like to clear all my opponent's security in one swing if at all possible. And Greymon is step 1 in how we get there. Now, our backup Greymon is the BT12 one. This inheritable that all turns 1k buff is pretty nice. The when Digivolving, you can play a tie for free if you don't have one on ready or in play already, which is really nice because we are playing the secret rare WarGreymon, and his when attacking here, you need a tamer in play. So having a tie in play is very important for us. So if you're playing these searcher Agumons here, just evo a Greymon to pass turn and get a tie out for free. Is just really nice. And there's no like memory restriction on it or cost restriction. So, you can play out your memory fixer for play cost one. Now, for our Greymon X's, we're just running the standard stuff here. We've got 3 of the Greymon X, so trash 2 of the same sources, or 2 of the same levels in your sources to keep it alive from any type of option removal, of deletion, bounce the hand, or send a deck. And then our other one, of course, is the Greymon X virus type from BT11. This card is just busted. Everyone knows what this does. It's this, your turn when this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the cost by 1 for each of that card's costs, or colors, sorry. So if you Evo into this Metal Greymon that we have next, it's a 1 Evo. So 3 on top of any Greymon in name, and then if you go on top of that 1, it reduces it by 2, making it a 1 Evo cost. We got our raid here. I actually really, I use raid a lot in this deck, particularly on the Metal Greymon. All turns, once per turn, when attack target is switched, you may play 1 black or red tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. Your turn, while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in name, gains piercing. So swing with this, raid, and Evo with your X antibody mid-attack into like something like this. The Metal Greymon X antibody is when Digivolving, this Digimon gains security attack +1. Then if it Evos on top of Metal Greymon or it has X antibody in the sources, it gets plus 3000 DP also. So we go on top of our Metal Greymon here. With that, we now turn on our piercing because it's just Greymon in name. And then we get our 3k buff. So now we're sitting at 11k with security attack +1, maybe +2 from Greymon here, maybe a DP buff from Agumon, putting us up to 12k. We are piercing, we are raiding over a target, we are getting a body on field, whether that be your security attack +1 tie, making us a 3 check with piercing on a level 5. This combo has been nasty. Like literally, I could play this entire deck and I've won so many games never even going past my level 5s. Like, that's how busted of a combo this is. Now, of course, it is match dependent and meta dependent, so you do have to be kind of mindful of something like that. Now, down here at the end, this is a card that I just recently flexed into the deck. I dropped each of these guys by 1 each, so I could put in 2 Alterius modes here. When Digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less. Sure, okay, not bad. No problems there. But this is a backup removal prevention source. So especially if you have virus type Greymon X antibody in sources, he's the one that's going to bottom deck your X antibody option to keep yourself alive. Whereas this is the same as the other Greymon X antibody, the regular one. And there's been plenty of times that I've had to just skip the Greymon X and I'd go from a regular Greymon into Metal Greymon. And I don't have any protection. And so Alterius mode has been really nice. I've been running in Black War as well, just having this second layer of defense. Also, for some people that aren't aware, this isn't once per turn. However, it is once per chain. And what I mean by that is, say they play out a Leviamon that pops the highest play cost and the lowest play cost. Those trigger at the same time. You can only protect against it one time, right? Unless you have another effect giving you more protection. So if you have both the Greymon X antibody and the Alterius mode, you can trash 2 of the same level twice to survive Levia X. So having multiple sources, like doubling up on it, actually isn't that bad. Really, really nice, honestly. Especially because you can say you detach, you go Alterius mode and then go into Metal Greymon X afterward, and you have 3 level 5s. You could trash him and the Metal Greymon X antibody here and keep your piercing. Okay, so you can get rid of 2 of your 3 level 5s that don't do you any more good, and then keep your piercing, which is really, really nice. So yeah, this new lineup for level 5s, feeling really good about it. Now jumping into our megas here, like I said, I am running the secret rare BT15 WarGreymon. I like this card. I know that some people have done really well with this card at big events, and just when Digivolving, this Digimon gains raid for the turn, then it may attack. So essentially it's Blitz, and it's a 4 Evo cost. It is a little steep here, but we do get the raid, which is nice. And it's only for 1 turn, though, because it's only the turn that it Digivolves. But then when attacking, if you have a tamer with Digimon, if you have a tamer, this Digimon gains security attack +1 and piercing for the turn. Now, in general, we should probably have the piercing anyways, but in case you did have to trash it to keep yourself alive, you're going to be able to keep piercing at least, which is really important, as well as security attack +1, 12,000 DP body. Now, I do have the BT12 one in here as well. It has raid all the time. It's got when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP and gains reboot. So he's a big boy, okay? He's really, really massive. But that's only for the one turn. And then all turns once per turn when attack target is switched, unsuspend this Digimon. Now, if you've got piercing and raid and you're swinging over your opponent's bodies and you're getting multiple security checks, that's super, super strong. You can actually literally OTK with just him by himself if you pull it off, which is really strong. So I like both of them. It's hard to decide, honestly, sometimes. I really like the Blitz on this. If this one had Blitz, it would be no contest. I would choose this one every single time. And like the secret, even with the security attack +1 and all the other stuff here, it's for me, it's the Blitz, because I can Evo into a Metal Greymon and then go Metal Greymon X and still be on my turn, but I'll be at like 1 or 0 memory, and then I can just pop this secret rare WarGreymon and Blitz. X antibody will trigger, and then we can Evo mid-attack into our WarGreymon X. And I love this card. All turns when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain 1 memory. With all the security attack bonuses we have here, we can typically gain back enough memory to keep turn. He has a 1 Evo cost on top of a WarGreymon. End of attack once per turn. If WarGreymon or X antibody is in this Digimon's evolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. You get to pick the target. I think that's really nice, because like Black WarGreymon X doesn't, when he unsuspends, he doesn't get to pick the target, and that always like is very frustrating. It's always the lowest play cost. Whereas this guy's like, as long as my DP is bigger, you're good to go. So, especially in turns where you went like Metal Greymon X antibody, you have a 3k buff, so he's at 15k, just like flat-footed there, depending on if you have any other inheritables or anything like that might have triggered. He can be really big. And so if we add it up again one more time, so we got security attack +1, security attack +2, security attack +3 from Ty, and if you went into our secret rare WarGreymon, you have security attack +4, and then of course the regular hit on top of that. So that's 5 security you're clearing. So say you Evo into this guy for 4 Evo cost here, and then you do Evo 1 Evo into this. That's 5 memory you spent. Oh wow, look at that. You're doing 5 security checks. You're gaining back 5 memory. So even if you were at 0 memory, you paid 5. With WarGreymon X, you're going to gain it all back as long as you get all those security checks through. And he's going to be like a tent pole, probably at 16,000 DP with his Agumon, you would imagine. So yeah, super, super strong combos. Bring it back to your turn, and then how else do we finish it? Blitz Omnimon for game. Just always a really good, solid card here. You pretty much only ever really use this if you're trying to go for game, though. Like, you don't want to Evo this and just kind of have it there most of the time. But it's all turns. If an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon card in its evolution cards. This is an all turns effect, and it's not once per turn also. So again, it's just another layer of protection, because this works for Greymon or Omnimon, right? This one right here works for Greymon or Omnimon. Not that one. Alterius mode here, Greymon or Omnimon. So this Omnimon's very, very hard to remove. Aside from the classic Chaos Deck or Lone Keys, DP minus does work on this one as well, because we're not running the DP or Digivolve prevention. Metal Greymon X, I like that one in Black War because of the reboot, being able to trash security with that inheritable. But unless I'm going real heavy on the BT12 WarGreymon, I don't want to run that newer Metal Greymon X. But also, say you missed one of your security attack bonuses here. Say you could only get security attack +3, right? So you only get 4 checks in, but say you do keep turn. how do you end the game, right? Your opponent's at 1 security. You just attack. You've got Blitz Omnimon in game or in hand. You can go Blitz Omnimon, swing, or unsuspend, swing. X antibody option will trigger again because it's not once per turn. You go when Digivolving into Omnimon X right on top of your Omnimon. So for 3 cost, when a Digimon with X antibody in its Digivolution cards would Digivolve into this card, reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So then he's a 1 Evo cost on top of your Blitz Omnimon. And then when Digivolving, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level to the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. When Digivolving and when attacking once per turn by placing X antibody or a level 6 card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck. Reveal all of your opponent's security cards and trash one of them. Place the rest in your opponent's security stack face down. Then your opponent shuffles their security stack. So they got 1 left. Reveal it, trash it, and then you're mid attack, and they don't have any blockers or anything like that. You just take game. So really powerful combo there. Pretty much the standard ratios here is 2 and 1 because sometimes you don't need the Omnimon X, but Blitz Omnimon for game is pretty common. Like you'll take plenty of games with that combination there. Like I said earlier, I do have the tie here. He is a memory setter. I'm always a fan of memory setters here. He gives us all of your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. So if you go into Omnimons, just remember they're not red anymore, so you're not going to get the security attack bonus from tie. A lot of people forgot that way back in BT1 or Special Booster 1, 1.0. So yeah, he's going to help us just get there, help us set our memory up. We got the X antibody, which we've talked about several times here. Security, gain a memory and add to hand so you don't lose it if it does end up in security. Place it under one of that doesn't already have X antibody, and then when attacking, if this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibody and its traits in your hands for its Digivolution cost. It can Digivolve. I don't know how I worded that, but yeah. So you swing and then you Evo into an X antibody Digimon. Really good. Really good card. I do run it as a 3 of. I know plenty of people only run it as a 2 of. I brick on X antibody options way too dang much. I have to run this card at 3 to see it. And yeah, that's just me. That's just my take on it. I've got 2 offensive trainings in here. I just kind of have the flex spot for them. The only stuff that, the only targets we're missing is the Omnimons, as well as the X antibody options. So you do kind of have to be mindful of it if you don't have X antibody option in hand yet, and you have an alternative play like an Agumon X that you could play instead of an offensive training. You should probably do that so you don't accidentally bottom deck one of your X antibodies, because I do it. I've done it before, but sometimes you just don't have another play. You Evo a rookie and your hand is full of bricks and you're like, well, I got an offensive training. I guess I'm going to fire that, see what happens. Fingers crossed. And that's just, how you're going to play it. That's just nature of the beast of the game. I've got 2 Crimson Blazes in here. This card's pretty good right now. Reduce the memory cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each Digimon your opponent has in play. In theory, if you're playing this card, your opponent has at least 1 Digimon on field, so it's a 5 play cost. But delete all your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. Your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of their next turn. That's huge. Crimson Blaze shuts down a lot of tactics. Leviamon right now is really popular. Probably the most played deck, like top of the meta. Really strong card. But a big thing that he does is he plays himself by effects. Like Biting Crush and things like that. They'll force you, depending on the build, to play Digimon by effects. Normally, this deck doesn't do that. Normally, this deck doesn't trigger any sort of, playing Digimon by effects, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But in the event that they're trying to, run, the Waru Seedramon, and they're going to force that play, this just shuts all that down, so your opponent can't play Digimon by effects. So, pretty strong stuff there. I do like the Crimson Blaze. As well as it hits other things. Commandramon, you wipe out the Commandramon's board, as well as you prevent them from being able to play Digimon by effects. Numemon, oh, this card wrecks Numemon so bad, because all their stuff is super weak. Like 6,000 DP or less, you're wiping out most of their board, and then they can't, bring stuff back. Like they've got the new Numemon X that really, really, brings that deck up to to tier 1. That Numemon X is super good. Play Crimson Blaze and you just turn that all off, kill all their stuff, and They can't float into other bodies. Crimson Blaze is in a really good position right now. If you're running a red deck and you're debating what removal to run, I really, really recommend running Crimson Blaze in this current format. Now, the last card in the deck here, I debated on this so much. 2 security attack plus 1 ties, 2 memory fixer ties wasn't cutting it. For our secret rare WarGreymon, you really need that tie in play. I didn't like the black ones. It didn't feel overly good, particularly because, again, it's a red deck, so our red trainings could miss it. Now, the gaining memory back is huge, right? So I wanted something that was going to be just as good as gaining that 1 memory back. And that's when this kind of popped in. Your turn, when one of your Digimon of Agumon or Greymon in its name moves from the breeding area to the battle area, gain 1 memory, and trigger draw 1 card. The rest of it doesn't matter. It's for Agumon. But that gain memory. So it's the same amount of play cost as the black tie is, but we get this as soon as we promote up. And that's pretty much when you want to gain that, right? The time that you're promoting up from raising area is the turn that you're ready to go off. So you're going to gain that 1 extra memory there, and you're going to get an extra draw. And again, draw is really good for this deck. We don't have a ton of it. Like I said with the Koromon earlier, that 1 extra draw could be all you need. And this tie really, really fits the bill for me. So I gain that memory and draw. So it feels just as good as the black one, just in a different capacity, right? We're not worried about the blocker. We've got 1 thing that does the whole reboot here. So the rest of it doesn't really, like, giving something blocker on that other tie in this deck doesn't really feel great. Like, you don't feel like you need it. So I wanted something a little bit different. For an aggro deck like this that's really just trying to OTK, the gain 1, draw 1 of this tie, actually really nice. That was actually a super recent change because I've been trying to toy around with what to do with my tamers for ages. I tried the 2-drop one, right, just to get that free body or semi-free really cheap. But for 1 extra memory, I gain memory anyways on the turn I'm ready to pop off. So I'll gain that 1 memory back that I spent on it as well as I get a draw. Too good. Just feels really nice. And that's the total of the deck. I know it's not super crazy, super spicy, but there's a couple cards in there that I haven't included before on my list. Like, it's been ages since I ran an Alterous mode, and it honestly feels really good now. I actually really enjoy running that another layer of protection because I keep missing my Greymons, my level 4 protections. So, and I don't have the black Agumon X antibody that has the protection. So I got to find other layers to get it. And then so this tie, the Crimson Blaze, the Alterous mode, all good stuff. And then the BT5 Agumon actually making a comeback. Like I said, in an OTK version where you're running the Agumon or you're running the Omnimons, this is, I think, a really good include. And the prices on his really nice alt arts are not that much. Like, look at the Royal Knights box Agumons versus like the Vmons, right? Those price differences are crazy right now. So not a bad time to pick these up, especially if Greymon pops back. I know a lot of people don't have faith in it, but I feel like if you're here watching this video, you've got faith in it. And if you made it this far, please like the video. I've already said it, but literally likes is what YouTube cares about. So if you could like this video, it'd be greatly appreciated.